Well, I'm Angie Carpenter, supervisor of the town of Islip, and I understand that we're here to kind of get a little bit of an update on what's been happening. We did find out that according to National Geographic, Shark Week is upon us, so isn't that interesting? We did have two sand sharks were caught off about 100 feet off of Atlantique earlier today. They were released back into the water, as is the DEC protocol. These were 8-foot sand sharks. The beaches are all open over the ocean beaches, the bay beaches. All of the beaches are open. However, once we heard about the shark this morning being caught off the beach, we had not gotten confirmation as to what it was, what kind of shark. So we made the decision, our camper program at Atlantique, where we have about 30 to 40 kids a day, we decided that they would not be permitted to go into the ocean today. Certainly they had access to the bay and all of the amenities that come with it, with kayaking and everything, and they had enough to keep them busy today. And I'm sure they spent a good time today talking about what happened yesterday. We are just so grateful that the two children that were bitten are going to be fine, and I think after all is said and done, that's the thing that we're taking away from this and being so very grateful for. I want to commend our lifeguards and the team down at Atlantique. The young lady lifeguard that went in there and rescued the young boy as he stood up or got off his boogie board or got knocked off his boogie board and came out. When he got to the shore, she ran over to him immediately. He was bleeding, brought him under the tent, started dressing his wound, and what made it even more significant for us is the fact that she's a medical student, she's a nursing student. So we know that he got immediate, really good attention, and then the EMTs from Ocean Beach arrived, and then ultimately he was taken off on the police boat and taken to the hospital. Again, we're just all very, very grateful, and very grateful that our team of lifeguards, just without specifically having protocol in place for shark bites, just reacted, knew what to do, and did it right. This morning, all of the lifeguards were out there for training, starting at 7 o'clock this morning. They were in the water and doing what they do best every day. But I think after what happened yesterday, they are going to be that much more vigilant in their duties at the beach. Joining us today is Jim Gilmore from New York State DEC, because the tooth that was removed from the boy's leg was sent for analysis, and I think Jim has an update for us on that.
My name is Jim Gilmore. I'm the director of the Marine Division at DEC. And last evening, Governor Cuomo directed that there be an interagency effort to look into this whole situation, and charged Commissioner Basil Sagos, my boss, with essentially leading this up. This morning, we acquired the tooth taken from the boy, we believe, from the shark yesterday, and we had a team analyze that. A team that consisted of researchers from my office, SUNY Stony Brook, the Wildlife Conservation Society at the New York Aquarium, and the University of Florida, which actually keeps all the shark bite records. The tooth was broken, it's a fragment, but they have concluded that it was indeed a shark tooth. They do not know the species, but the best guess was a sandbar tiger shark. It's consistent with what would occur in these waters at this time of the year. Last evening, Commissioner Sagos and I went out on a boat tour to look off of several beaches, Atlantique, Sailor's Haven, and the several beaches. Couple of things was there's pods of dolphins out there, which is indicative. There's a lot of forage species out there, fish that are swimming around, which is bringing in a lot of things that eat them. We typically have sharks in our waters and several species, sandbar tiger, dusky sharks, dogfish in the surf zone. The last couple of days we've also had some very strong north winds, so the surf was very big. So we are speculating at this point what we think happened was the combination of those sharks that typically exist, the heavy surf which actually churns it up so the visibility is very poor, and those sharks don't like humans, but they were just in the surf zone looking for forage fish and probably a mistaken identity and maybe have bitten these children. Hopefully as the surf lays down the next couple of days, the water clarity will improve. But this is a very rare event that occurs. We haven't seen this in my lifetime, and I'm a New York, Long Island resident. So hopefully this is just, again, a very unique circumstance. The animals, even if they are sandbar tiger sharks, exist in our waters. They always have. In fact, fishermen have been pulling them out the last couple of days in great numbers. They do have to go back because they're protected species, but again, we think this is probably a case of mistaken identity and not things that we've never seen before. It's just the unusual event that we had 2 bites in one day.
Thank you so much, Jim. And from Good Samaritan Hospital.
Hi, my name is Dr. Jay Itzkowitz. I'm the Associate Chief Medical Officer at Good Samaritan Hospital. I just want to give an update that in conjunction with the patient's physicians, the patient did come back to undergo a procedure that was just routine. She is doing well. She is receiving great medical and nursing care here at Good Samaritan Hospital. Well, we can't get into specific details for patient confidentiality, but it was just a precautionary procedure just to make sure that she's doing well and is getting great care. She's doing well. She's very stable, doing well.
And in very good hands here at Good Samaritan Hospital.
Correct. I think the best hands here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this time of the year, the month, where it gets warmer temperatures, we just have a lot of shark species that come up. And a lot of the ones in the surf zone are generally smaller ones, or juveniles or smaller species that are, again, they're just foraging in that surf zone. And because there's a fish called a menhaden or a bunker, and the population of them has exploded the last couple of years, so they're all the way up into the Gulf of Maine. So we're seeing a lot of whales. We've probably seen the reports that we've got humpback whales like we've never seen. They're all feeding on primarily menhaden. And the speculation is that these sharks are probably eating that menhaden also, because they can be very small, and you get smaller sharks in that surf zone. So that, in combination with bathers, is just a recipe for this type of thing to happen. Again, we only have a fragment of the tooth. We believe it was from the bottom jaw, and it's very difficult to age or size the shark from that small piece. Well, again, the larger sharks are always here, and they do tend to stay offshore because they'll ground themselves and injure themselves. So it's generally those smaller sharks, and they will stay maybe 50 yards off the beach, whatever, typically. But if you get murkier water and those bait fish are in and they get chased into the beach zone, the sharks will run in after them. So again, we believe it was a combination of those factors that contributed to them being so close to the beach. We speculate that they were both shark bites. When we believe, I think someone reported that they was from the same shark. That's almost impossible because of the size of the sharks. These are smaller ones, and the distance was several miles, and these sharks I think the bites were only a few minutes apart, so there were probably different sharks that occurred for these 2 attacks. We're increasing the lifeguards on the beach. We're making sure they're vigilant. We're putting out, notices to the people to keep their eye out. If you're going in the water, it's still safe to go in the water, but swim in groups. So if, the sun happens again, whatever, that you'll be, usually the sharks are afraid of people, and if they see large bodies in the water, they tend to swim away. So the combination of that with the efforts the town is doing, to get eyes on the water and more vigilance. We have actually overflights going. We have drones up that we've done to look for the shoreline to see if we're seeing anything unusual. But so far, we've spotted typical sharks that we would see this time of the year off the South Shore.
And as Jim says, the interagency cooperation has been incredible. I can't tell you how many times the governor's office has called, us today and last night too, to offer assistance in working with us. So it's really been very reassuring.
I think, and we haven't seen all the photos of the bites yet, but typically if a shark is really attacking, they'll latch on and they want to rip chunks of flesh out. And the fact that there were injuries to the kids, but the sharks seemed to swim away after they were done, would indicate that they didn't really want to, they were trying to eat something else or bite something else beside the kids.